Okay guys, so let's start chapter number 2 from Connect. And this chapter is about computer hardware, specifically about types of computer architecture and all that stuff. So today we just have one agenda item. We'll start with the basic definition of computer plus types of different computers. So we'll discuss definition and types of different computers. So let's start with the definition. What is a computer? So it doesn't mean, it's not required that computer should be in the shape of having a monitor, having keyboard and all that particular stuff. Computer can be any digital device which can perform these four functions. So any digital device which can accept input, number two, which can process data, number three, which can store data storage, and number four, which can provide output. So any digital device which can perform these four traits, or which can provide these four functions, is called a computer. Which can accept input, process data, store data, and give a suitable output. So now, as far as input is concerned, computer cannot understand human language. If you want computer to do something, you have to translate, or you have to convert that instruction into machine language. So please remember, computer doesn't understand human language. Computer only understand machine language. If you want computer to do something, you need to actually say or instruct computer in machine language. So how we actually give input to computer? So in order to give input to computer, we actually use some input devices. We use input devices, and these input devices, what they do, they actually convert human language into machine language. Machine language is just like binary, like 1010 and all that. So that is basically what machine language is. So input devices are, for example, your keyboard. Computer can take input from keyboard, and keyboard converts whatever you type it into binary or machine language. Mouse, mic, the microphone. So these are basically some types of input devices. Then processing is basically like where we use in fact CPU, RAM, ROM and all that. So what they do is they compile data to make it more meaningful, to make it a useful information. Output is basically like, again, because whatever is running inside the computer, it is basically in machine language 1010, which human cannot understand. For example, even a song. If you want to listen a song, you need to have output device, like, because whatever the song, you can say tracks and everything is basically written, or those are basically in machine language. So we need to actually use output device if computer wants to communicate with you, or whatever is basic. If you want to convert the machine language into human understandable language, you need to have output device. So output device converts, the voice, otherwise machine back to human language. And output devices are like speakers. We have then monitor is output device, and printer is also output device, because human understandable stuff can be displayed. Then for data storage, like hard drives holds the data for future use. So if any device provide all these four functions, is called a computer. Before I actually move to the types of computer, there are a few terms that you need to know. One of the term is computer hardware. And computer hardware term, you guys will see this term again and again. What is a computer hardware? So computer hardware is basically physical parts of computer. Physical parts of computer is called computer hardware. Physical parts of computers are, for example, system unit. Some of you guys might heard about system unit. We'll talk about it. For example, monitor, peripherals, in fact, monitor, let's say keyboard, mouse, etc. These are basically called computer hardware. So let's talk about firstly system unit. What is a system unit? Because that's the most important component of a computer. System unit is basically, for example, in the case of desktop, you might have seen a tower-shaped box. So that is called system unit. So system unit is nothing but it is basically a tower-shaped box that contains all electronic components of computer. Components of computer. And what kind of electronic components? For example, motherboard. It might have RAM, hard drive, CPU, etc. So all the electronic components are basically housed within the system unit. And now system unit, like for example, in the case of laptop, in the case of desktop, it comes as a tower-shaped box. In the case of laptop, it is basically under your keyboard. And while in the case of smartphone, so it is basically behind the screen, touch screen. So that's the location of the system unit. But again, all the electronic components are housed within the system unit. Motherboard is one of the very important component. That's the main circuit, main board. So motherboard, also known as main board, and all components of system unit, mainly of system unit components, for example, RAM, CPU, ROM, and the hard drive, HD hard drive, are attached or embedded onto it. So that's basically, and why we call it motherboard, because components are attached with it. That's why we call it motherboard. So let's discuss the types of computer. We'll discuss several different types, almost 9 or 10 types of computers. So first type of computer is laptop. I believe everybody's well familiar with laptop. So laptop is basically a clamshell type computer. And the top selling, or you can say the most widely selling type of computer after the cell phone. Cell phone is the most widely, you can say selling or commonly used type of computer. Laptop provides you full operating system with integrated keyboard. Keyboard is integrated, attached. You can say the trackpad or touchpad plus the monitor. So all these components are basically integrated, not a separate entity. And some laptops do offer RAM, random access memory upgradability. So some offer RAM upgradable. So basically we will discuss the RAM in detail. RAM is one of the most important component. Two components of computers are most important component. One is called CPU, central processing unit, and second is RAM, random access memory. We'll talk about it. The power of a computer mainly depends on CPU and RAM. Why to buy a laptop? There are many reasons. First of all, it is mobile. Like unlike the desktop, it's not a fixed, it is portable. Full operating system, plenty of storage. plenty of storage that one can get from the desktop. Again, it also offers a RAM upgradation as well. While second type of computer is desktop, again very common type of computer, in fact very cheap as well. And desktop is basically the devices with separate system unit and relatively larger footprint, like they need more space on your desktop, on your desk. Secondly, they are not mobile. First of all, as you know, they are not mobile, but allows easy upgrade and expansion. So since they allow easy expansion and upgradability, so they are great for business, for businesses, developers. They also use that's the first choice for the app developers and website developers. That's the best choice. Great for businesses and for serious gamers. It is very common in serious gamers, where they have to actually, change the configuration of computer to actually play the different levels of the games. Okay. Next is the tablet. Tablet is another type of computer, which is, why we use a tablet. In fact, there are quite, many reasons behind it. First of all, for example, if you need a computer that you can use while walking. Okay. Like it's kind of a cell phone with a big screen, in fact, and slightly more RAM, in fact. So if you need a computer that you can use while walking, you need a tablet. It allows highly mobile computer for reading. You can read books, like for reading books plus gaming, online gaming. Small operating system. In fact, you can say the mobile operating system, so you cannot run all the application. Not upgradable. It will remain same throughout the life of the tablet. It cannot be upgraded. You cannot change the RAM. You cannot change the hard drive. Then another type of computer, which is called all-in-one computer. It is also becoming very common nowadays. It is basically in between the tablet and desktop. Like the computers that we have at GGC, those are basically all-in-one computer, which are in your labs. So all-in-one computer, what they do is, first of all, they are not mobile. So it's the not mobile, but less popular, but lack of expansion, because you cannot actually expand them, you cannot upgrade them. So but lack of expansion make them less popular with gamers. Another point is it offers you full operating system, just like one you can get with the desktop, with the with your laptop as well. Then the next is the two-in-one computer. Two-in-one computer are basically they offer a mobility like a tablet and power like a laptop. Provide full operating system with detachable keyboard, and they actually we use SSD, solid state drive, which is slightly different as compared to traditional hard drive, because there is no moving component within SSID. We'll discuss SSID in detail. Next, it offers It offers less storage than laptop. A traditional laptop might offer you more storage. Next is the smartphone. A smartphone is basically the most commonly used or most common type of computer is a smartphone, and it has a mobile operating system. Okay, so you cannot actually play or run all the applications. Then you can actually use data plan or Wi-Fi for internet connectivity. Internet connectivity. The RAM is of the smartphones are usually less than laptops. So laptops typically has more RAM than smartphones. Next is the embedded embedded computers. Embedded computers are basically system on chip, like system on chip, or you can say a computer which is a part of another computer, part of an other computer. So that is basically called embedded computer. For example, your car ignition system, which is basically part of the main computer of your car anti-lock braking system, ABS, stuff like that, maybe a watch, maybe something like that. All these are basically like a system on chip. That's basically what the exact definition of embedded computer is. Next is the servers. Server are basically like these are powerful computer which basically which make a network possible. So server is a computer which is shared by multiple users on a network. What it does, it acts as a host of the network. So if, like for example, whenever you join a network, let's say if you connect your computer with GGC network, so your computer is basically a client, and why you're getting services and how you're getting services through the server. So it acts as a host of the network, facilitates other computers on the network. There are three main types of server. Each network, they have to have these three server. One is network server, which controls access to network resources. For example, if you take a printout at GGC, let's say if you are in GGC campus, you take a printout, that particular request will go to network server. Network server will actually verify your credentials, and then you can take a printout. You can access that network resource. Web server is basically, it controls access to web applications. And in our case, it is D2L. Okay. Then file server, it actually used for data storage. Data storage on network. Then the mainframe. The second last type, mainframe, is very powerful type of computer. For example, where we have more users. For example, let's say for GGC, like how many visitors, how many people they actually visit our website simultaneously at the same time. You can say maybe 1,000 people in the peak times during admissions and all that. Otherwise, simultaneously, maybe 10 or 20 people, they access our website. That's on average. But what about Facebook? You know, server can handle 500 to 1,000 queries per second. Let's say, 500 to 1,000 people, if they access a website which is running on a server, that would be fine. But if 1 million people, they simultaneously want to access a website. Server cannot handle that. In that case, you need a mainframe. So mainframe is basically powerful than server, owned by large organizations where they have more users and data. They have more users plus data. It can cost up to 1 to 10 million. And IBM is the leading manufacturer of the mainframe computers. The last type is the supercomputers. Supercomputers are basically, you can say, it's the most powerful type of computer and can handle complex data like satellite communication and all that, and only owned by federal government, NASA, federal government, Facebook, Google, and some research universities. They actually own it just to do some research on it. So we will continue from here in our next video lecture. If you have any question, please bring it up.